Satnam. I was about to say good morning. It's 100% not morning. It's been a day. We're here for it. The Capricorn full moon, round 2, because we had one at the very beginning of Cancer season. At the first, it was degree 1, second degree technically. Anyhow, Capricorn full moon is, the full moon in general brings us an opportunity to shed and to release and to move certain things out of us. And Capricorn is that which rules our stricture, our structure, and the parts of us that stay still and steady because they've worked before. And so there's a call within this. Both Cancer and Capricorn, these two polarities, are very interested in what lasts. So when we think about the clean and pure archetype of the two of them, or one representation of the clear archetype of the two of them is family. So we think the things that we create and nurture and take care of and provide for, that lasts on into the future. That's Cancer and Capricorn. And I've recently been playing with, this is a little bit of a sidebar, but recently playing with the concept that for let's make sure I get this right. For a man, the part of the chart ruled by Cancer has to do with the mother, and it's opposite for a woman. The part of a chart that has to do with Cancer is the father, and vice versa. The Cancer-Capricorn polarity is that kind of mother-father dynamic, and that's both in the familial sense and in the kind of worldly extrapolated sense. It's like what masculine and feminine principles are you applying to your projects and your creative endeavors and the work relationships that you create and foster to create something that is lasting. All of these necessary things in life. And ultimately it's all about the effect that we have over time on the world, whether it's small or large, lofty or minuscule and pretty local. So the Capricorn full moon is the opportunity to move away from certain parts of the structure that no longer serve our forward trajectory. They have existed and they have brought us to the point that they were supposed to. They have finished their job. They have created enough longevity or enough momentum with their own existence that they can now be set aside and allowed to be no longer in the picture. And so we have that part of it. We'll kind of bounce back to that a little bit later. The removing of those things is the call for these couple of weeks between now and the Leo new moon, which will kick off the Leo lunar cycle. We're currently in the Cancer lunar cycle. We're still in this like watery, feely kind of sensual, not sensual, There's a different word I was looking for, and it's floated off with the waters of Cancer. In any case, the softer side of things, the emotional understanding of the world, the warmth and comfort and camaraderie and compassion that happens within these parts of the year. So we have the Cancer lunar cycle continuing onward, and now this is the part of the cycle where through that creation of good, warm, constructive, protective relationships that we've created with the things around us, the old structures which have gotten us to the point where we needed to be to create these new experiences are now obsolete, for lack of a better word, or intrusive or invasive or otherwise otherwise impeding the forward movement. So we get to shed some of these things that might come up. What constructs within your mind are delivered by let's just go with the same example, the familial line. It's like, we've gotten to this point because of the fact that we had the family that we had. Fantastic. What are all the good things that have come from that? What are the things that you now use as an excuse to not do certain shit? Because it's a structure or a limit or a wall, an end point that you've set based on those old familial structures. This is a great time to let some of that move away, float away, dissolve into the wateriness of Cancer season for this last half a day. It's literally, the sun is moving forward, and actually let me check that real quick. The sun is moving forward, and it's going to move into Cancer, into Leo rather. This is how I fill dead air with sound effects. Yeah, it's like 1 in the morning, literally 1 in the morning tomorrow. So we have that part. But this last kind of little bit, and also the last 2 weeks of the Cancer lunar cycle, are still within that Cancerian framework. We might move into Leo season in the outer experience, the solar experience of it, but the inner world is still in this kind of Cancerian movement. And so we adopt a more presentative, dramatic flair for the external environment, or at least what we're seeing in the external environment, and the internal environment is not yet reflecting that. It's still processing and moving through the watery Cancerian, emotional, familial remembrance. The past is ruled by Cancer, just sidebar, or fun fact. The past is ruled by Cancer. So right, I strayed. So we have the full moon in Capricorn, allowing us to shed some of these old structures, and also interacting with, importantly, this full moon. We have the ruler of the full moon. When we think about the ruler of the sign in which the moon is, Capricorn, the ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. So we look to Saturn for a little bit. It's in Pisces, but it's not necessarily being affected directly by any of the faster moving, more kind of visceral planets. So it's just there, kind of by itself, which is appropriate. Saturn in Pisces is basically spiritual isolation. But the effect that it has on the full moon is a very meditative place. So some of these things that we're allowing ourselves to remove from us will take a meditative practice to get to. So it's not just like we're letting things float away from us. It's like, no, you got to sit down, shut up, and get the people the hell out of your house and be there and just let yourself be there. The home is a very important aspect of this. Cancer also rules the home. So that's Saturn affecting this. Then we also have also a Piscean framework. The closest thing affecting this is Neptune, also in Pisces. It's a very close, energizing kind of tendril. It's like being reached out to. The moon in Capricorn is in what's called a sextile, a 60-degree angle from Neptune in Pisces. And so, again, we have the spiritual element of this. There's an allowance for, interesting, something that just popped into my head. This is a very fantastic time to actually do the progress and do the process, or get into the process, whether you believe in it or not, whether you think it's going to work or not, whether it's something that you've thought about doing before or not. Sit down and ask your ancestors, what are the things that they gave to you that you no longer need? So that's a practice you could get yourself into if you want. Neptune in Pisces bringing that kind of permeability between reality and hyper reality, meta reality. That's the one I'm after. Meta reality, the reality outside of our three-dimensional structure, the extra dimensional realities beyond us. So we reach out into those places and we can find things that we aren't naturally attuned to most of the time. So we get Neptune and Pisces giving us that particular nugget of fantasticness. And then also affecting this, much less floaty, we have Uranus in Taurus. It's Uranus in Taurus. This is a fantastic example. I hadn't thought of this before. I know you have to have seen at some point or another, because we're in the age of the internet and no one has gotten away from this, the things that are created when lightning strikes sand in the desert or on a beach. But in a desert, I want to put it in a desert because it's Taurus and there's too much water at the beach. But anyway, lightning strikes sand, creates these beautifully ornate and chaotic tubes of glass, because it hyperheats the sand and turns it into glass. It's fantastic. Anyway, that's Uranus and Taurus. It's the tangible and real and observable effect of the lightning fast changes that happen at 26,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's that kind of shit. It's the things that we don't expect to be possible, but then obviously it's possible. It happens. So we've got that interacting with this, and how that affects the whole full moon situation is by giving us a kind of, well, again, lightning, but we want to think about it in terms of brilliance in this moment. The ability to get those flashes of brilliance, those flashes of insight within the meditative space that aren't nebulous nonsense. They're not oh, I'm going to spend the next 3 years decoding this weird fucking message that I got from my great-great-granddad on my mother's side or something. No, this is oh, that thing. So Uranus and Taurus gives us that ability to really ground the instant potential of the realization that we can gain from, again, if you want to play with the ancestral lineage, or if you just want to meditate on things that you might need to get rid of for your own good and for the good of humanity, because everything that is good for you really is good for humanity. Meaning everything that is actually good for you is good for humanity. So we've got that. And that's pretty much most of it. There's some other shit in here. Mars just moved into Gemini overnight and energetically interacts now with Pluto for the next few days, which is fucking awesome. Mostly because I don't like things to be simple or necessarily easy. I don't like things to be too easy. I really enjoy the things to be in your face and difficult and but it's just my nature. Anyway, observe those places where you might fall into the trap of hitting something with more force than is necessary, and also recognizing when someone else is doing that over the next few days. Venus in Leo gives an added bit of interestingness to this, because it could go both ways. It could be very passionate and enjoyable and positive and theatrical, and it could also be the trap of wanting to dramatize everything into oblivion. So it can be drama to the good, it can be drama to the bad. It brings a bigger experience of the emotions up, and that's interacting with Jupiter, which makes it even fucking bigger, which is great. And Jupiter's in Gemini, so watch for truth in all of this. because some of it will be distinctly untrue, but very easy to believe. And that applies in all realms of life, not just in terms of what you're trying to figure out from your ancestors. I mean, like money, politics, friends, relationships, everything. It's very easy with Jupiter and Gemini to see an untruth and just allow it to be seen as truth. So anyway, that's that. All right, that's the full moon in Capricorn, round 2. Happy full moon, happy impending movement into Leo season, which is gonna be awesome. Lots happening, and mostly it's just fun because it's like, it's sexy and it's energetic and it's all the things that we all think that we want to be at all times. So we have to do it sometime, right? All right, cool. Have an awesome day. Satnam.